Sparking Change with Gigi, a show that aims to make the world a better place by bringing together authentic minds. This show encourages each of us to be the change we wish to see in the world. Get ready to be inspired and join us on this journey to create a brighter future for all.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Sparking Change with Gigi. In today's show, we're going to be talking about how to master our mind with our thoughts, because everything truly starts with a thought. And today's guest, Mr. Dan Matthews, we're going to bring him on stage. Welcome, Dan. We're going to talk about your expertise in your knowledge of how you bring together the mind and spirituality. Because thoughts are energy as we study it. And I'd love for you to talk about it, but share with us your background first that you bring to us from your knowledge.
Thank you, Gigi. Thanks, everybody, for being here. It's a pleasure and an honor to be talking to you today. My background is multi-leveled. I started as a fairly young boy interested in religion and started studying what I knew, which was the Christian Bible at that point, which expanded into a study of Eastern religions and Islam. And there came a point when I realized that they were all telling the same story. They were all telling the story about God, Allah, Buddha, Nirvana, but with the premise that God is love. And after that basic premise, they started piling a bunch of rules and regulations on top of the basic premise, God is love, until it was buried under a bunch of rules, most of which were made by people, which made me a little bit disillusioned. Early on, though, just a few years after I started studying religion, I was very interested in the sciences. I've always been a learner, and I started studying math and science, biology and chemistry and physics. Ended up with a bachelor's degree in physics, a bachelor's degree in English, and went on to teach this in the sciences at the high school level and also at community college and university level for about 17 years. But during that time, continued to learn, ended up with a master's degree in marine biology after starting a graduate program in astrophysics, switched to marine biology. But then started looking at myself and wondering, well, I as a religious student, a theology student, I knew that there was something more to life than just everyday living, that there was a spiritual side to everything. But it wasn't until I really started seriously studying personal development that I realized that personal development told the same story as the major religions. The story of growth and expansion, of the power of the mind, of the power of intention, setting direction, and how all those work together to achieve goals. Later on, and this was only about 10 years ago, I realized that science and religion and personal development really were all telling the same story. That they're all telling the story of infinite intelligence, how it works in nature, how it works in our mind and body, how it works in the universe, in interstellar space. They're all the same story, the same laws. And the laws that we think of as personal development laws, or the basic tenets of religious laws, are exactly the same laws as the laws of physics and chemistry and biology, just at a different level.
They're all interconnected.
They're all connected. Not just connected, they're all the same.
Mm-hmm.
The laws are the same at every level. And if you can understand rules that govern how water circulates on the earth, or how blood circulates in your body, it's the same story. It's an analogy for how things work in the spiritual world, even though you can't see, and oftentimes you can't measure in the spiritual world. But the laws are universal, unchanging, and they govern everything. And that was a real revelation for me, that not only is the physical world around me governed by laws, the spiritual world is governed by the same laws.
Mm-hmm.
And that really put me on a different trajectory to start studying that relationship and the analogies that we see in nature, how they tell us a story and present to us a truth that really you can't get just by thinking about it.
Right.
But the analogy tells a story. And that story is a powerful one about the power of the mind, the power of thought, the power of words, the power of intention to direct our paths.
And it's true that from the power of the thoughts that we do have, create our feelings and our emotions, which create our actions, which create the results in our life. Hence, whether we become success, something becomes a success or something does not become a success. It's all driven from our thoughts, the way what direction we're taking our thoughts in. Am I correct?
That's really true, Gigi. That where you focus your attention, where you focus your thoughts, you're not just virtually, you are literally telling conscious awareness, infinite intelligence, where to move energy. Your focused attention, and especially coupled with emotion, drives the wheels of the universe in your favor.
Yeah.
To bring you the topic of your thought.
I remember when I first started to study this, someone said, I want you to think of like a time when you are at a wedding. Picture the wedding in your mind. And of course, I'm getting all happy and smiley because, right, we're having a great time at the wedding. And then within a few seconds later, she's like, okay, I want you to picture someone who really passed away that you really loved.
Mm-hmm.
The emotions shift so immediately from just thinking of that thought and having the picture in our mind, because we think in pictures, right? We need to see that picture in our mind.
That's true. We think in pictures and we think in emotions. And just like you and I right now, Gigi, I'm expressing my thoughts, and my thought energy is being converted in my mind into signals to my body to produce sounds in my voice box, to produce shapes in my mouth, to make sound words, to create. My thought energy is creating sound energy. And that sound energy is just sound waves. It's just pressure waves that are traveling from my mouth, striking the microphone on my computer, being converted into an electrical signal that is broadcast as a radio wave signal, comes to your computer through the magic of technology, directly to you and to nobody else. And you receive that sound coming out of your computer, which is translated into a thought in your mind. My thought is transferred into your mind by the transfer of energy over, I don't know how far apart we are, at least 3,000 miles.
At least. Dan, this is not, and I was a science teacher as well. and it was earth science that I studied. And I will tell you, this was all a surprise to me, right? The only energy that electrical energy that I knew about was what we use electricity for. And that was it, right? And never, so for me, this was like brand new knowledge that I knew myself as well. I needed to dig deeper to really understand how could energy, of course, Albert Einstein said, everything is energy.
Mm-hmm.
And just to think everything leaves nothing out. Nothing. Not you, not me, not the microphone, not the books on the shelf, leaves nothing out. For me, it began to help me to bring my level of awareness to a different level, because if everything is energy, then I need to know more, because I know now we can manipulate energy.
We can.
And I went down that path.
And it's amazing to me that more people don't understand that everything is energy. We see solids and liquids and gases around us, trees and rocks and the ocean, and we feel the wind blow, and we can get an idea of energy. But you think, if you see a rock, you say, well, that's not just energy, that's solid. But if you look at it not on a macro scale of a rock in your hand, if I have I don't really have a rock here. I do have a fossil, but if I hold something solid in my hand, it's non-intuitive to think that solid material is just energy, because it has weight to it, that it has properties that can be measured. It's a physical substance that I can hold, that we commonly call matter. But if you take that down to the atomic scale, the atoms are vibrating. They're in what's called a crystal lattice. They can't move very far, but they can vibrate back and forth. But if you then look at the particles that make up the atom, the protons and neutrons and electrons, it all of a sudden becomes very fuzzy. And the closer you look, the fuzzier it gets. It cannot get clearer. It only gets more fuzzy. And now an electron, you and I, when we were in school, learned that an electron was sort of like a little sand grain going around a marble, around the nucleus. Yeah. We know that model is not accurate. It helps us to predict chemical reactions and discuss how energy can be absorbed by an atom and so forth. But the truth of the matter is, the electron is now, the name or the description of the electron has changed recently, and it's now called a point charge. It has 0 volume, 0 mass other than its rest mass, and the only property it has is electrical charge. Nothing else. It's
at the atomic level, subatomic level?
On the subatomic level, it's pure energy. And that energy is moving, it's vibrating, and it's producing an electromagnetic wave which radiates out, called an electron field. And all electrons have an electron field. And all the electron fields of all the electrons in the universe, not just in this rock or in my body or in the room that's around me, all of the electrons in the universe are connected by an electron field. And that electron field, as energy moves through that field, it carries information. It carries data from point to point, from electron to electron. That is an analogy of how information is transferred in your body from cell to cell, from tissue to tissue, from your brain to your heart, to your gut, to your feet, to your hands. We call it nerve impulses, but it's an electrochemical signal that carries data from point to point and causes changes, physical changes in the structure of, or the position of my body. It's the basis of thought. And it occurs not just in my brain, not just in my body, but throughout the universe. Energy is being transferred from subatomic particle to subatomic particle, whether it's an electron field or a proton field or a meson field or a pion field, whatever it happens to be. All the energy fields are interconnected, and that thought energy carrying information from point to point travels instantaneously. Does not travel at the speed of light. It travels instantaneously throughout the universe. You and I, Gigi, are connected by our energy fields.
Yes.
In over 3,000 miles.
Absolutely. When I studied energy, one of my mentors was Dr. Joe Dispenza. And he said, and I'll never forget, he said, if our thoughts can make us well, thinking good thoughts and having positive energy, and can our thoughts make us sick? And the answer is absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Your thoughts do make you sick. There are whole clinics that just deal with helping people that are sick because of stress. It's one of the most common sources of serious disease in the world, certainly in the United States. Is sickness caused by stress, and stress is thought focused in a direction which is not healthy for you, for your body.
And so this energy, thought energy, let's say negative thought energy, that makes us, obviously it has to be expressed. The energy goes to the physical body, and this is how we may have headaches. We may have pain in our shoulders. Let's talk about emotions, because it segue into emotions, because emotions is energy in motion.
Right.
And another thing that I went to study is the emotion code. I don't know if you heard of it.
Tell me about that.
Bradley, he talks about how the emotions are, the energy is like a little golf ball. And if you experience a trauma in your life, let's say you're walking the street and you see a car accident, energy is meant to flow with a nice, even, it's always flowing.
Right.
Without it, if everything's well, without interruption, just like the water, turn the water on and the water flows, or a river, if there's no rocks, it just goes nicely and it flows. But if there's an interruption, for example, in this seeing a car accident, your energy will come to a halt. Like your emotion from seeing that car accident will create some kind of trauma within your energy field. Am I correct to say that?
Sure, of course.
And that becomes a memory. I'm kind of like, and that memory can stay with you forever, meaning, let's say you'll never decide to cross the street again without somebody with you, because it brings back that thought of that incident.
And that memory doesn't just stay with you. Traumatic experiences or sad experiences or those kinds of negative experiences in your life are kept in your mind, kept active in your mind, because you go back and revisit them. You think of that memory, you bring a memory up. Rarely do we think of good memories. We usually, if we have memories, they're remorse or sadness or shock or some kind of trauma. And
why is that, Dad?
Well, because the memory, the reliving that memory, and it really is reliving it to your body, to your subconscious mind. It's happening in real time. It's really happening again. You had an argument with your boss, and you're driving home, reliving that whole scenario. To your subconscious mind, it's happening all over again. It's truly happening. Your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between what's real and what's created by thought alone. And as you bring it up, it causes the release of something like cortisol or some negative chemical in your body, which is a stressor, and and your body becomes essentially addicted to that chemical. And so whether it's anger or remorse or sadness or trauma, the chemicals associated with it become addictive substances within your body that's created by your own body. I knew a man who I worked for some years who was what they call a rageaholic. He was not really happy until he could go into a rage about his face had turned purple.
Wow.
And 15 minutes later, he'd be sound asleep on his desk because he'd had his fix of adrenaline for the day.
He absorbed all his energy from that, right? We're going to take a short break, and then we're going to come back, and I would love to touch on the conscious mind and the subconscious mind, because I have this little analogy that I like to share with the audience about that. So we'll be right back.
Now, the vast majority, approximately 95% of the people of all countries, go around and around without aim or purpose. They drift with the circumstances of life, good or bad.
A drifter is one who permits himself to be influenced and controlled by circumstances outside of his own mind.
Whereas the successful individuals create their own circumstances and ride them to victory.
When you're on purpose, you're living on purpose. You will never quit if you have a real purpose.
A burning desire to be and to do is the starting point from which the dreamer must take off. But what I have done has been recorded, it's been tested, it's being taken to a free world, and it's going to benefit millions of people who are not yet born.
And it's going to benefit millions of people who are not yet born. We're some of those people that we're spreading this to the world. As your awareness grows, the doubt is gone so that you can manifest whatever it is your heart desires. Isn't that beautiful?
I love this commercial because it's all about becoming aware, right? Having an awareness, a level of awareness. I just caught at the last minute, and I put two and two together I want to get into the subconscious mind and the conscious mind. And the commercial was very funny. It said 95% of the people are drifting today. And my understanding is because we are on autopilot. We function 95% of the time through our subconscious mind, which are the programs. And to give an analogy, this is an elephant, and this is the subconscious mind. And here's a little squirrel. This is our conscious mind. If we're functioning on autopilot, because this is so strong, in order for us to have success in life and not become drifters, we must take control of this and change what's going on at the subconscious level. Am I right to say that? Yeah.
Absolutely. The subconscious mind is really the secret to it all. Your conscious mind, you're well aware, you've been trained since infancy to use your conscious mind. And sometime in early childhood, the use of your subconscious mind, which has been all you've had as a baby and a child, starts getting suppressed. And it doesn't take long before you're told, pay attention, stop daydreaming. I was told when I was in grade school, Danny, stop daydreaming. You're just looking out the window. And I wanted to say to the teacher, but you don't understand.
Yeah.
And we're taught to disregard the feelings, disregard the emotions, disregard what we know deep inside us is true and right, and think about things that are of little value, only temporary in importance, and are used to cover up and suppress that part of your mind which is able to sense things and know things that your conscious mind is unaware of.
How does that?
Conscious mind is just a problem-solving tool.
How does the subconscious mind get programmed, Dan?
Well, that starts happening early on. They say that all children, when they're born, have the mental capacity of a genius. Their subconscious mind is completely
Wide open
to everything that comes in, all the stimulus that comes in. They don't know language, they don't know body movement, they don't know anything except that they're hungry. And they are incapable of expressing themselves, but they can feel emotion around them. They can feel the emotion in music. They can feel the emotion in being out in nature. When they spend time as a child in an imaginary world, a world where imagination is the most powerful thing in their life. But then you start closing the doors. In your mind, you start closing doors. No, that's just my imagination. The voice of that still small voice within you, which is a guiding mechanism for making decisions and staying on a path, staying focused in life, and choosing between what's truly important and what's only apparently important. Your analytical mind can accept and reject all thoughts. It can take something as true, even though it's not true, and hold it. And it can bury that thought, which has been allowed into your subconscious mind, even though it may not be true. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough time. I don't have enough education. I don't know the right people. Whatever it happens to be, it suppresses your imagination because it's allowing thoughts to come in which are not true, usually somebody else's opinion, or it's your experience based on faulty decisions or poor decisions. And you end up in a place that's uncomfortable. And you say, I don't want to go back there again, not realizing that it's not the situation, it's not the decision, it's the fact that you've allowed a negative experience to become part of your subconscious mind, and it covers up and stops the natural flow of energy that would open up and allow more to come in, more of truth and more of things that are of infinite importance, eternal importance. And
or are happy with your own being. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say important things that are happy with your own being within, right? That are truly, without looking at the outside. Because what I take away from what you just said is we take a look at what's going on outside of us, mm-hmm. which create the negative thoughts in our mind.
And we think that, and it disempowers us. You've all had feelings, emotions that have made you feel better, made you feel stronger, made you feel more expanded, made you feel like you can do anything. And you've all had experiences that have made you feel contracted, made you feel smaller, made you feel less important, made you feel ashamed, whatever it happens to be. Those two kinds of thoughts, we've all experienced those things, but we take in the negative and make that part of our subconscious mind, and it hinders our ability to make decisions or to lay aside the fact that within you is power that's greater than anything outside of you. Within you is power that's greater than anything that's outside of you. And you only bow to the power outside of you by listening to the negative thoughts that have been buried in your mind by your environment or by friends or by relatives or by poor decision making.
How can we talk about wiring your thoughts for success is the title of this show. What are some of the ways that people can, and we know auto-suggestion is one of them, to begin to rewire the negative thinking that is programmed in the subconscious mind? Like you said, people might say, I don't have enough time. I can't do that because I don't have enough money. And it becomes their narrative for everything that they need to do or want to accomplish. Like they'll stop themselves. I met a girl the other day who said, I would want to have my own daycare center. And I'm like, what's stopping you? Oh, it's so much paperwork that you need to do with the state. I don't know if I really can do it because I don't want to be responsible for another child. But I'm like, well, if you want to open up a daycare, that is part of the game. But I think the negative thinking, I don't want to be responsible. God forbid a child gets hurt. And I'm like, but if you love children and you want to open up your daycare center, that wouldn't even be on your mind. You'll make sure that you have all the safety things needed to give that child a safe environment. And I said, parents will love you if that's what you would love to do.
Yeah, and even, Gigi, even more insidious is the saying I can't is really definitive. Yeah. Even worse is the kind of cop-out statement, I will as soon as, or I'm going to as soon as, or my intention is this. All of that is reasoning that's really the thought pattern of a procrastinator or a thought pattern of a drifter. I will do that. I met a guy who was a retired Navy SEAL, and he had a business, and he said, giving a command in civilian life has to be done very carefully because he said, I had an employee he said, will you take the garbage out? He said, yes. An hour later, the garbage wasn't taken out. He said, and it kept going, and until he said, take the garbage out now. And then a decision had to be made. But it could always be put off if you say, I will, I'm going to, as soon as.
Like you said, it's a cop-out. I think it's.
It's just another way that your subconscious mind takes control based on fear, based on feelings of lack or inability or insufficient something, whatever it happens to be, time, money, whatever it is you feel like you're lacking, based on lack. Get over all that. There are no limitations. There's nothing that's impossible. All things are possible. Jesus said that over and over again. All things are possible. Nothing is impossible. He wasn't joking. He wasn't being dismissive. He wasn't saying something that wasn't true. All things are possible. And they're possible for you according to, as Jesus said, your faith and your belief. Those are not religious terms. They've been made into religious terms and they're misunderstood. Faith means I am able. It's a great I am statement. Faith means I am able. Belief means it's already been given to you, or it's already been given to me. We live in a universe that has as its creative imagination, its creative force, its creative infinity, an infinitely loving conscious awareness that will give you anything you ask for if you ask for it with an open heart, with trust, realizing that I am able, I can do this, not because of me, but because every one of us is a child of infinite intelligence. And that has two separate meanings. You are a child. I am a child of infinite intelligence. And infinite intelligence will give me anything. It's God's pleasure. It's the pleasure of conscious awareness, the creative power of the universe, to give you anything you ask for if you ask for it with trust, expectation, gratitude, elevated emotions.
You said the magic word before, it's belief, right? It's believing.
It's already been given to you because your thought energy is part of the energy of the universe, which has never changed. It moves from place to place, it changes form, but the total amount has always stayed the same. You are part of that. Your thought is part of that infinite energy, that infinite reserve of energy. You are part of the mind of God. You are a child of infinite intelligence. Remember that.
That is so important, because I know for me, understanding what I know now and having the level of awareness, we have one of the greatest things that we've been given is choice. And either we are doing something with full faith that I'm able and I'm going to do whatever I can to do it, or we go in it with fear,
Mm-hmm.
which, that to me, now I understand when things did not work out was because my fear was greater than my faith.
That's right.
Because I was looking at and saying, no one else did this. What makes me think I can do this?
That's the
Or,
that's the
who do I think
fear.
I am that I'm going to be able to do that? Or, like you said before, yeah, I don't think I'm able to do that. And it's funny, I was born in Italy. I came here with a lot of fear, right? We had to get used to. I was in second grade. I was about 7, 8 years old. My mom was in a lot of fear. My dad, he kept us in jail, quote unquote. We couldn't go out because he was in fear. So I was raised with a lot of fear in my life. And now I understand why my results were the way they were, why I was always scared and didn't want to, in corporate America, I started my career in corporate America. I didn't want to go up there and make presentations. I will stay at the lower level. But now I know why. It was all because I was raised with fear.
And if you live your life in fear, you live a life bordering on being sick all the time.
Well, everyone knows I'm a cancer survivor.
Yeah.
And that now I understand that part of my cancer was because I was living in fear of a lot of things.
Yeah.
And and we bring it right back to the beginning, the energy that we have within us. And if I had a lot of emotions of fear, well, fear had to be expressed in the physical body somehow.
It'll show up somewhere.
It has to show up somewhere. So if our thoughts can make us well, can our thoughts make us sick? Absolutely.
And they can make you well again.
And they can make you well again.
Yeah.
I know within my heart, and I see clients, the root cause, I understand now we go to doctors after we have the symptoms. Doesn't matter what symptom we have, we go to them to say, yeah, my blood pressure is high, or, my leg hurts.
Then we just declare what we've been told by the medical doctor, and he only knows what he's learned. He doesn't, he's part of the 95%. He doesn't understand.
Correct. And he's going to treat your symptoms. That's
Right.
what he's treating.
No, and he doesn't give any credence to any of the information which is valid medical, scientific-based information that your thoughts can make you well. They say it's a miracle if it happens. It's an anomaly. And it's part of the way things are meant to be. Your body knows how to heal itself. Every cell knows how to heal itself. The only thing that's stopping your body from being perfectly whole, perfectly healthy, is your mind. Your mind saying, "Oh, I'm 75 years old. I'm old, and I'm going to die pretty soon, so I might as well just give up now." The voice is brutal. It'll tell you all those things. I know. And you go, no, that's not the case.
Didn't you recently go skydiving or something like that?
My wife and I started kiteboarding. Kiteboarding is a dangerous sport, and the learning curve is terrifying. But we started when I was 71 years old. We started kiteboarding, and we're both avid kiteboarders now.
And I'm sure you're enjoying it so much.
It is. It's a exciting. We're both enthusiastic about it.
Awesome. And this is what we're speaking about is, I always say age is just a number, right? It's just a number. You decide if you want to act young or old, right? You want to do things that are going to make you older or do things that are going to make you younger.
Yeah. And if you don't turn off the TV, you're guaranteed to get older and probably get sick, because they're trying to push drugs for every symptom that you have. If you watch them, especially if you're watching late night TV, I would say turn off the television, don't listen to the news, don't read the newspapers. I don't even know if they still have newspapers anymore, but
yeah.
I stopped reading newspapers a long time ago.
I want to touch a little bit on health again, because
Sure.
It's when we're feeling healthy that we can take the path to success, and do whatever we would like to do, right? When we're not healthy, we can't. It prevents us to do a lot of things.
And being healthy means feeling healthy, and feeling healthy means having a clear mind, clear thoughts, trust. You know that you can reset your heart, you can reset your mind at any time through a brief meditation. You can open up channels between you and the creative energy that created the universe. Conscious awareness, the mind of God. You can open your heart because you have a portion of that within you. And that connection between you and the infinite is a channel that you can use. It's available to you anytime. And it has healing power. It has power to elevate your emotions. It has power to clear your sight. I'm talking about your spiritual sight, so you can see clearly your goal and your purpose in life. It's miraculous because it's powerful, and it's unchanged by environment, by conditions, by circumstances, by situations. None of those things have any effect on it. Just like that little still small voice within you that's never changed since the time you were a child. The heart of God within you.
I wanted to bring that in alignment when I started to study energy, body, mind, and spirit, harmonious, in alignment. Coherent was essential to getting well.
Coherence is a physics term. I have a little laser here that looks. If I put it right into the camera, you can see that it really is a laser. Don't look at it.
Mm-hmm.
But lasers are important because I can shine it on my hand here. You can maybe I'm all backwards on the screen here, but you can see it.
Yeah.
You can't see it when it's going through the air. Yeah, I can put my finger here and there, and you can see that it makes a path. But the important thing about laser light compared to normal light is that it's what they call coherent light, and it's what Gigi was just talking about. Coherence means everything's lined up. The same. You have a constant frequency of energy that you focus your attention on. And that coherence produces power greater than scattered thoughts or scattered attention. And it's the reason that things like miracles, healings can take place, that your health has to do 99% of the time with your energy and your focus of that energy and the coherence of the energy.
Absolutely. And you mentioned before several ways that we can create more harmonious in our life, right? With gratitude. One that I have experienced in my own life is forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
It's a big one.
Yeah, those are two powerful words. And remember the power of words. Words have the power to create and they have the power to destroy, just like your thoughts do.
Absolutely.
And gratitude is a powerful emotion. The word gratitude never appears in the King James Version of the Bible. It does not exist. That word didn't exist in the English language at the time that the King James Version of the Bible was written in 1611.
Why not?
But it's the story of gratitude, the story of spirituality, the story of personal growth and development is a story of gratitude. And it's a story of enthusiasm. And enthuse means God within, and theos. But gratitude comes from a word which is common in Europe. The Greek word charis was the word that was translated in the King James Version as thankfulness or grace. Grace almost sounds like charis.
Mm-hmm.
Charis is also the root word for the word charisma. And gratitude comes from the same word charis, which was also translated as gracias or grazie.
Gracias.
Those words are all words of gratitude, words of elegance, of confidence. And those words are words, and forgiveness. Don't forget when you're forgiving, you always think, I gotta forgive Fred for the time that he, did me wrong. He still owes me $20 20 years ago. Forgive yourself. Look in the mirror and forgive yourself. You know what you need forgiveness for. Nobody can give you forgiveness except yourself. And when you forgive yourself, your trust of yourself, your awareness of yourself, and your confidence in your own being go up. You can elevate your own emotions by forgiving yourself.
And that's when you can start loving yourself.
That's right.
Because when you're holding a grudge or sadness towards someone, it's actually hurting you first.
Yeah.
Right? The words that we speak, whatever words come out of my mouth, they're meant. And if I'm speaking to someone, and this is the great stuff that I can't believe, like I never knew this, but the words that I speak are first meant for me. Then they're meant for someone else. So if I'm speaking bad about someone, if I'm saying something that's not nice or I don't wish someone well guess what? It's meant for me first.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Losing your temper never hurts anybody as much as it hurts yourself.
It was Dr. Wayne Dyer that said, I'll never forget this one. He says, it's not the snake bite that hurts you. It's the venom that you keep within you that hurts you.
That's right.
So release, because part of your success has to do with the energy within your body. Your thoughts, if thoughts is energy, what are you thinking? What's holding you back? We are holding ourselves back with anything we want to do. Anything and everything that we want to do, we can do because we're all made of the same stuff. That's
right. We're all entangled, as the physicists would call it in the quantum world. Exactly. All of our atoms are intertwined.
And I tell you, down the road from me, I saw this new place that opened up. It's called Quantum Healing. This is the new way of really helping ourselves, because it is energy. Quantum field is the energy field that's around us, within us, that needs the healing for us to be successful in whatever we do.
And one way that you can heal is to focus energy within yourself. And you can bless that part of your body that's calling out for help. you can bless it, and you can send it love within your own body. And that's a healing source of energy that you can give yourself.
Dan, you just said another big magic word, love. Loving yourself first is essential for any success in your health, in your relationships, in your wealth. If you have a business and you hate everything about the business, if you don't love it, get out and go do something you love, because love is what drives our purpose.
Yeah.
Right? It's how we define our purpose in life. It's how we have a strong desire to make it happen, right? And have faith that it will happen.
In the morning, before I get out of bed, I ask myself, what do I really, really love? Right before I say, what am I grateful for? Those two questions when you wake up will set your day. Declare your intention.
That's another thing in life. We're in a rush all the time. We don't take the time. We don't take the time to really understand ourselves. And, personal development and being with the Napoleon Hill Institute is really an opportunity. Again, I have 2 master's degrees. What I'm learning now, I'm just astounded at what a difference. It's helping me to become a different person, to know that, yes, I can achieve a lot of things. What I need to do is make sure my thoughts, like I am the guard, like Cleona says, like I need to police my thoughts.
That's right.
Because it's ourselves that will drive us either to stay focused or lose focus.
And one thing I would say, if you have a copy of Think and Grow Rich, if anybody, I have an old copy that I use, but it's the same words as the new copy.
Yes.
But the chapter 11 on the subconscious mind is a chapter that you can read over and over and over. I would encourage you to do that. Anyone who's really interested in getting some deep understanding is to read that. I actually recorded it years ago and listened to it in my sleep. And even after hundreds of times of going through it, new thoughts will come from between the lines, but new ideas will come from listening to it or from reading it. Read The Subconscious Mind. It's a great, great chapter.
Absolutely. If anyone would like to have an electronic copy of that, please feel free to email me and I can send that to you.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's funny, there's another book called The Subconscious Mind. It's by Joseph Murphy, I believe.
Oh, yeah.
Power of Your Subconscious Mind. I read that as well. But absolutely, to understand how this is controlling us and how this needs to be changed is what we teach at the Napoleon Hill Institute, so that you can truly meet your higher self and be able to achieve your goals that you want to achieve.
That's right.
On a final thought on thoughts, how can what advice can you give the audience about if they're on a negative thought pattern? It's just like replaying the same story over and over again. What can they do?
Well, one thing I would do is say to focus their attention on things they're grateful for.
Yeah.
There are simple things like, I'm grateful that I can take another breath, that I woke up this morning and have an opportunity to live a brand new day. But be careful of your thoughts, because your thoughts are easily taken astray and down some other rabbit hole as you let them go. Be aware of your thoughts, and one way you can help yourself is to just put your hand on your heart and close your eyes and take a deep breath about 5 times, just a nice, slow, deep breath, and think of the things that you really love, or a thing that you really love, without any restrictions, without any allowing any fears or distracting thoughts in. Just focus your attention on something that you really love. It can be the goal of your life. It can be your feeling of gratitude for your ability to serve other people or to help other people.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, it can be somebody who loves you, or maybe it's your favorite pet. I'm grateful for our dog, who really is a living example of unconditional love.
Absolutely. There's another magic word. Give yourself unconditional love, because that's where it starts. It all starts with you, right? It all starts with us.
Don't focus on the limitations. Don't focus on the reasons why you feel you can't. Think, I am able, because I am a child of infinite intelligence, and my desire has already been given to me. It's already waiting for me to, in trust, reach out and embrace it.
I love that. Thank you, Dan. As we come to a close, thank you, everyone. Dan, how can people get in touch with you if they would like to?
They can come through you, Gigi.
Okay. Okay, so everyone.
If you have questions, send them to Gigi. She'll forward them to me, and I will send you an answer.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for joining me on Sparking Change with Gigi. Until next time, have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Gigi.
Thank you for joining me on Sparking Change with Gigi. I hope that our episode today has ignited a spark within you to create positive change in your own life and in the world around you. To learn more about how you can become a guest or supporter, head over to sparkingchangenow.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, please consider subscribing, sharing, and leaving a review. Your feedback is incredibly valuable to me, and it helps me to continue producing content that sparks change in each of us and the world. You can find us on various platforms, including Google Play Store, Apple App Store, YouTube, Facebook, Roku, Android TV, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. Thank you again for watching, and I look forward to having you join me again next week on Sparking Change with Gigi.